Students, here we are going to discuss laws of motion. Before going into the laws of motion, we first try to understand motion and rest that we have already studied in previous lectures. Now, motion and rest, these are the two states of an object. Rest, no change in position with respect to time. No change in position with respect to time, and there is a change in position. Change in position with respect to time. Now there is a change. Now how it is changing? The rest and the motion. If we are keeping this object here, say, alright, say a ball, we are assuming this as a ball. Now if we keep the ball here, what happens? It is in rest. And if we put some force, means if we are making a kick to it, there will be motion. Means it is clear that to change the state we need to have a force. Without this force it will not move. Means to change the state from rest to motion, this ball is required a kick or a push. Now if it starts moving, definitely it is going to stop somewhere. Why it is going to stop somewhere? Because there is a force which is acting in this opposite direction, and that may be a force of friction. If we are talking about only the force which is acting on it, which makes its motion into rest. So now but this body wants to keep itself in the motion. Means there is some inherent property of a body which tries to keep itself in the state of rest. If it is in a state of rest and if it is in a state of motion, it will try to remain in a state of motion. But if we go through the observation which Galileo made, scientist Galileo made, he made an experiment. What he did, he has used a slope and kept a ball which was rolled, and it was rolling continuously, and it stops. And why it is stops? Because of the friction which was acting in the direction opposite to it. Now what happened? He made another slope again. It was downward. It was upward. You come to understand the ball is moving up to some distance. Okay. Means there is some force which is acting in the direction opposite to it. Now here what happened? Then he did another experiment. He has taken a slope like this, a movable slope here, and again he rolled down the ball. The ball came this up to a distance, this. Now it was moving because of the motion. It is not stopped here. ये बॉल यहाँ पे स्टॉप नहीं हुआ, ये आगे की ओर चला गया. It moves upward in this inclined plane. Now then another experiment that done it, they change its slope. Means the inclination is reduced. It was more inclination, means it will be like this, upward inclination. It reduced the upward inclination. Now what happened? The ball which was moving up to this same height, it moves up to this same height. But what happened? This distance is increased. This distance is increased. Now it was getting this much distance, say it is like this, up to this. Now here it is increased, that distance is increased. Okay. Now then after that, they did another experiment. They put the ball here and rolled it down. It starts moving. Now if this ball wants to go up to a certain distance like this at an inclined plane, so it has to move up to infinite distance. Okay. So from this observation, they come to understand that there is some property of an object is working behind it, and they call it as inertia. They call it as an inertia. Now, what is inertia? Inertia, it is a property of a body which keep itself in a state of rest. In a state of rest, if it is in rest, and if keep, I can write it here, keep state of rest, if it is in a state of rest and keep it in motion, if it is in motion, it is in motion. Okay, so inertia, they defined it like this: a property of an object or a body which keeps itself in a state of rest, if it is in a state of rest, and if it is in motion, if it is in motion, it will remain in the motion. So, a law of inertia is given by Galileo. Law of inertia, which states that if a body moves in a straight line with some certain speed, it will continue to move in the same speed, in the same direction, in the absence of external force. This is the law of inertia which is given by the observation of Galileo. After that, if we can go with the types of inertia, so there are three types of inertia: inertia of motion, second, inertia of rest, third, inertia of direction. Inertia of direction. Inertia of motion, we can say if an object is in motion, it will remain in motion in the absence of external force. Now we can simply have an example of cycling. If we are making a pedal, and if you leave the pedal, it is moving continuously. Okay. And if you are applying a brake, then it is going to stop. Similarly, if we are carrying the cycle, we need to apply some force. So we can say if an object in a state of motion, it will remain in rest in the absence of external force. Similarly, inertia of direction, simple example which we can have, the mudguard which we are using for cycle. If mudguard is not there, what will happen? The mud which is stick on the tire will come to our body when we are riding on the cycle, or somebody which is behind the cycle will get the mud on his face or on the body. So why is it happening? Because if we go through the cycle and their tire, the mud which is stick over here, they will move in this direction. They are continuously moving in this direction. They are moving continuously in this direction because there are two velocity which is acting. One is linear velocity and another one is angular velocity. So mud which is in the particles which will be in the linear velocity, so they will come out. And when they will come out, definitely they are going to stick on the person or the ball, anybody on it. Okay, so inertia of motion, inertia of rest, inertia of direction, these are the types of inertia. And inertia, which is a property of a body which keep itself in a state of rest if it is in a state of rest, and if it is in a state of motion, it will remain in a state of motion unless, or we can say, in the absence of an external force. This is the property of inertia. If we are applying a force, it is definitely going to change its state. If we are applying a force on, say for an example, on this ball, the ball is moving. When we kick the ball, what will happen? It will start moving and it will continue move, but because of the friction which is acting here, it will stop after a long time, after covering a long distance. And if you want to stop it, what you have to put? You have to obstruct it. So when you are obstructing the ball, it means you are applying a force, means that is an external force. And after obstructing the ball which is coming to rest, means you have applied a force to change its state from motion to rest. Okay, so this way we can understand the motion, the rest, the inertia, the property of inertia. Okay, in next lecture we will go with the Newton's first law of motion, which is also known as law of inertia. So we will go through it. Okay.